At the age of 17, he has created a history.
Have you ever dreamed of making a movie? What about writing a script?
So I got a chance to speak to him. I was lucky enough to talk to Jonathan.
He has written and sold around 40 scripts. Even Steven Spielberg is excited to see him. Now, I was fortunate to have a chat with him. What can I say? I was lucky.
Not surprised by Jonathan because I know his work ethic.
The youngest director in the world who has been signed by Amazon Studios. Straight from Ohio, USA, please welcome Jonathan Perry. Hey man,
How are you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm just great. So
Yeah,
you are 17 years old.
yeah. Well, for now, I got my birthday in 2 weeks, actually, the 21st.
Oh, no kidding. Is it? My birthday is my birthday is on 23rd July.
Yeah, well, it's a good month to
Yes,
have it in
yeah.
July.
What a coincidence. It's quite strange to hear that 17-year-old guy is making a movie for an studio. That's just crazy. I want to know, how did you start in this film industry?
hmm Well, at the very beginning, I was writing scripts, so it all started writing scripts at when I kind of discovered what a short script was through just stumbling around on the internet, and eventually I kind of got more intrigued by it, and I decided to write my first short script. After that, I was kind of hooked, and by the third short script, I was a little bit more brushed up on the script writing process. Not an expert, but I've had a couple weeks, and then I found a actual blog that I was looking for feedback on how to perfect the
Okay.
script writing craft a little bit
Mhm.
more at the time period, and I submitted my work online. I had a copyright on that script on the front page just because it looked cool, even though it
Yeah.
cost me money.
Mhm.
I thought that just in case too,
Yeah.
who knows? I was not even knowledgeable about any of that process, but
Mhm.
um, by the third script, someone got back to me on that copyright and said, I want to buy the script,
Okay.
write it straight up in the blog chat,
And what was
just like a
your
Reddit.
age at that time?
Pardon?
What was your age at that time when you
I
sold your
was
first script?
probably 14, late 14, which is pretty young. I really didn't know what I was doing, but
Obviously,
I
man,
just
it's pretty young. How much did they pay you though?
the first one was 350, which is pretty good. It was
Yeah.
on the higher end of the
Mhm.
payment scale. They could go from around 240 to up to 1200 was my most
Okay.
expensive one.
350 is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so after that I kind of wrote. I eventually got up to about 40 to 50 scripts as far as
Oh my God.
in total. Some of them I didn't sell, of course, but these people were buying the idea. They weren't buying the script content itself. So if I spelled something wrong, which as a 14-year-old teenager, I probably did, and I'm lucky they look past that. They're buying just an idea, just like an invention. They're maybe not looking at the quality of the product yet. They're looking at it what it could be. And so they're taking that copyright off, which I was smart enough to do when I was younger.
Yeah.
And they're just taking that copyright and doing whatever they want with the script. So once I would write it, I would sit down for probably 3 days, write the script,
Oh my
and
God.
post it online and just repeat the process.
Mhm.
Eventually, it got more professional. By like probably the 20th script, I was putting copyrights and I was going through revisions on them. So I would put the copyright on, and then I would send it off to a paid revisionist of scripts who's been in the industry, and that could have cost from $100 to $150. So subtracting those dues from the earnings, you have to take that into account. So I was kind of like a mini entrepreneur, or what I thought. And I remember when I wrote the first one, I had in mind that I was going to make a movie,
Okay.
which
With your first script?
The first script, I had that in mind. I was kind of crazed about it, and then it kind of lost. I
Okay.
kind of got lost in the script writing process for like a couple years, and
Okay.
I literally had made close to $10,000 in total script sales, and
Oh my God.
yeah,
$10,000. Okay.
yeah, and I kind of realized towards the end of all that
Mm-hmm.
that I really wanted to go back to the roots and make a movie or a short film in
Okay.
the scale I was doing. But I
Mm-hmm.
knew I wanted to go big, and luckily an email one day showed up in my inbox about someone wanting to buy one of my scripts for $4,000, which was very intriguing.
Oh my God.
I didn't want to cause bluff, but
I, I want to know what was the reaction of your parents when you were making this kind of money?
so I could see how they were. Well, I was most of the script writing process happened in the summers. Even
Okay.
though I was doing it during school year,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't working as hard because I was just. It was at that point it got more fluent, and I was just making money
Yeah.
doing what I really loved at the time, not thinking of any of it because I was um, going to enter high school and didn't really think ahead to the future too much. But
Okay.
um, my parents, they didn't find out about most of like the money stuff till about the 30th script.
Oh my.
Then
Okay.
yeah, they
Uh-huh.
they they were very proud of me with
Mm-hmm.
what I've done,
Obviously.
and
Obviously. Yeah.
yeah, I think building up credibility, and
Mm-hmm.
during that time, I was probably, I mean, they knew about it for a couple years, and then I went off to brand myself as a filmmaker
Mm-hmm.
as I started to think about making my first film. So when they offered me $4,000, I denied it. I looked at the script again, and I saw why I needed to produce this script, Sumerian,
Okay.
which, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Sumerian, I first branded myself as a filmmaker and kind of thought in my head for a couple months about how I would pull this off, because the particular thing with this script, and I think why I was offered $4,000, is because it is the biggest script that I've ever written as far as
Okay.
scale wise for a story. This
Okay.
is something that an large production would be necessary. And
Mm-hmm.
I could see that a budget of a large production would fit right into why they wanted to buy the copyright. So,
Okay.
um, and after denying them, I decided to put it into production. I really hadn't done an official production before.
Okay.
Um, Literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have had leadership experience with being an Eagle Scout and just
Mm-hmm.
having worked a summer job before when I was writing scripts,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had tried to grow as mature as I can to really fit that director's role. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was necessary when it came to thinking about the scale of the project, because we're pulling off stunts in a short film that should be
Okay.
very dangerous if it were even in a feature.
Mm-hmm.
Very when it came time to signing contracts, my main priority was just we got to make sure safety is the number one thing on this set, because there's a good probably 60% chance that something really bad could happen with the circumstances.
Okay.
And so another thing with the script was it it couldn't be CGI, which I did not want. As far as like mainly CGI, like computer animated figures as the main characters. But so if it's shot practical and the stunts all have to be like that, it had to be shot on location, which was a snow setting. And that
Mm-hmm.
type of year coming up, I had to locate a frozen area, which was up in Marquette, Michigan, which was 8 hours, a drive 8 hours from me,
Oh,
north.
Okay.
from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is just, when I mentioned it to my parents, it was just, I still mind boggles me how they went through with it. But I could see how with the script writing process, branding myself as a filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
to start off that, they trusted me because when I branded myself as a filmmaker, I actually I rented a helicopter and hung out over
Oh, now this is crazy. Oh,
yeah.
you rented helicopter? Shit.
Yeah. Well, I used some of the script earnings
Yeah,
to
obviously.
because I knew that I had to do something drastic to get people to trust me. Not that you have to hang out of a helicopter, but like just I really had to go as professional as fast as possible. So I had to do
Okay.
something
So
that
this was a strategy to like establish yourself as a filmmaker, you know?
yeah, I
Publicity
needed
stunt, maybe can I say that? Like it was for the publicity, the branding of
it
like.
well it not so much the publicity at the time. At the time I definitely wanted to keep it quiet, build whatever empire I could at the time as quiet as I can. It was
Mhm.
more for the union members and crew. So I since our safety crew and safety was the number one thing, we had
Mhm.
to have union as in the industry safety crew. And
Okay.
those, of course, are higher paid. Some of them have worked on films such as Transformers or
Yeah.
bigger films this year, so to speak.
Okay.
But of course, those are trained professionals. And then I also had to hire every role as far as this film goes, since it's such a large scale.
Yeah.
We had to.
You're mentioning it's a large scale, but can you say something like story? What's Sumerian? What is it about?
Oh, yes. Story wise, um, so Subnibian means to be submerged under a layer of snow or residing under. So it fit just with the theme
Okay.
of what's to come and when it's released.
Mm-hmm.
But it is about two brothers as far as their vicious chase through the woods, and it's a brotherly rivalry as far as um, it starts off with one hit the other when they're gathering firewoods.
Sounds
And
interesting, man. Really.
yeah, and it's a typical thing up there to gather firewood or send
Mm-hmm.
someone to go do so. And since it's cold winters up there, but um, one of them is led into a open field, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
but discovers it's a pond in
Okay.
which he falls through. So we go through the other brother's emotions as his sibling is drowning under the ice, and
Oh, sounds
uh,
intense.
yeah, I mean it. As simple as the storyline is, the psychological aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
it's very complex. I took definitely inspiration from Christopher Nolan's
Yeah.
time theories
Okay.
and David Fincher's cinematography,
Okay.
which was, um, yeah. So going back to crew, when we hired union members, we got up to 35 people on set,
Mm-hmm.
including university students from the local university.
Mm-hmm.
And we filled every role as far as anything from just meal planners to the guy who had the chainsaw that we needed to cut the ice open with. Um, but so yeah, production went well. People fought through the ice,
Mm-hmm.
which as far as our crew goes is the most scary thing when your cinematographer goes through the ice with a RE $5,000 camera. But
Yeah, you're the youngest one in the crew.
yes, I am actually. Our actors are 8 and 12. It's Christian Leonard and Cody Struck.
Okay.
And other than that, I'm the youngest person in that
Oh,
entire crew.
okay. So
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Like
Hmm.
I have made around 11 short films till now, and I have been always like I had this deal about ego. Like
Hmm.
this has been a pretty big deal since first short film, and
Hmm.
all the crew members are of like equal ages, right? So everyone is like of say 20, 21, 23, same range. But here, the director itself is the youngest, and everyone else is older than you. So how do you manage to communicate?
So by that time, we shot the film. I have been Skype calling the crew every night, every department for the past like half a year. So we were well affiliated. And of course, it's created by me. And I would say I was a little bit of a producer on it. I'm not going to credit myself as it, but even with our producers as university students, every department had to learn something new. So, and the internet's where to do that. And so we were all kind of feeding off each other's knowledge. And even though I had, I mean, I know that script inside and out, and they're going to look for me to portray that in their department. So in aspects of knowledge, I really was the leader on that set, which I had to be. And I didn't, it's weird because when I stepped on that set, you don't feel like a 17-year-old. You don't even think about yourself as a 17-year-old. You're director and you're the leader of this whole brigade. And so we would have meetings each night. It was a 5-day shoot. We would have meetings where we would review footage, rehearse with actors, make sure script content's all said and done, weather checks, safety checks, just literally we had every minute planned out. I had some of these union members on the set actually tell me that this was one of the best planned out sets they've ever been on because we had every minute planned on in our schedules. But I mean, that could be thrown off by a 40-mile-an-hour windstorm, which did happen at one point. And these actors, as young kids, I have to give it to them. When you're in a 40-mile-an-hour snowstorm and you're on just a flat layer of ice trying to beat it with your bare hands, it was rough conditions. I remember I got sick for the 4 days and I pretty much didn't sleep for the 4 days, which is remarkable on human capability, which I still look back on, but I don't know how. Should have showered more. Other than that,
Probably.
But I mean, when you're in 3 jackets and you're trudging through the wilderness up mountains, which I did fall down a mountain at one point.
Oh my god! Did you got injured?
I like bruised my back, but luckily the clapboard for the film broke my fall. So it shattered, but like yet again, I still have that, but yeah, which made editing a little bit harder because for like 2 days on set we didn't have clapboard syncing, but it worked out.
Can we talk about the days which went into the production? I want to talk about the pre-production. How much days did you get to pre-produce and produce and post-production? Totally, how much investment of days were there?
It was holiday season, but because we went up there on Christmas morning, actually, we shot the film the day after Christmas, which was remarkable on getting all those people off a holiday. But so post-production, when we got back, was my producer submitted a 9-page appeal to Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. Hulu didn't even answer, Netflix denied it, and Amazon sent a rep, and they emailed us back saying, hey, we want to collaborate on this. So yeah, it's going to work to, as long as in that letter, of course, we made edits to it, but it's just, we made sure that Amazon was getting just out as much of the film's benefit as we are. So through film festivals, of course, and their media and their bragging rights. I mean, even though a lot of it's based on me as far as being the big branding national advertising for this short film, just the aspect of my age is just doing numbers across the entire nation.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, that's why we are doing this interview. only because you are like youngest director out there. That
Yeah.
that card has played well, man. That thing has
Yeah.
really gotten you fame. Let's
Yeah.
say. Mm,
And I mean, I'm sure in the future coming ages, as streaming services become more independent, which they will, and I'm sure they're not public about that yet, but I know that they're opening up like short film sections. But I mean, of course, there's a lot of consumers out there, so they gotta
yeah,
satisfy
they're
with new
like,
content.
mhm.
So that's going to be helpful to the film industry. I don't know if that's going to shift it for the better, but nonetheless, opportunities open up with, and who knows, in like 5 years, I may not be the youngest on any streaming services. They got to beat like, they got to beat probably like mid 17 years old. I mean, it's all about, hey, what's your reel? Hey, what's your credibility? What's your IMDb? Uh, and I mean,
Basically, your
yeah,
skills. What is your skill set? What do you have to give? That's the most important thing. Being a filmmaker, there are always those guys which suggest us films, and they say like, "Have you seen this movie?" And we say no, and they are like, "Oh, you should watch. You are a filmmaker. You watched this movie? You have to watch this movie. You are a filmmaker. You should watch this movie." What do you want to say about those guys?
oh, well, yeah, I mean, I get that a lot too. If they're not pitching me a script, they're either seeing how I liked a movie that I never saw.
Happens
And
all the time.
so, yeah, and so like with those, it's even though I'm 17, I haven't seen a lot of movies. I don't intend to binge watch the entire history of cinema in 2 years. I don't need to because when it comes down to watching movies for filmmakers, a lot of people can get lost in thinking they're educating you into the craft further, which, in my opinion, not so much, depending upon the film. Because I mean, you're gonna get the same type of emotions more or less. You're gonna be tracking the same type of detail and knowledgeable of the same general stuff as far as like something that's real or faked, like let's say CGI. So when you're watching a film as a filmmaker, well, at least what I do, I would have the script by me to see how it correlates to the script to screen, because you
Okay.
can find
Yeah.
mistakes. Yeah,
Great idea,
and
Gautam. Great.
you can see what didn't work, what did work for the film, and how maybe the actors perceived it. So you're learning as you're watching, which,
Exactly.
but I mean, of course, a consumer is a consumer, but the dealer has to be careful with consuming his product, as metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's all about perception. So,
So
and
watching movies is not recommended. Like watching only movies is not recommended. You have to do something if you have to get.
yeah, I mean, it's not a waste of time, so to speak, that much, unless if you're binge watching Netflix, you could have written a script in that
Exactly.
10-hour series by
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're really trying to push
Mm.
hard into the industry fast, or even just push at all, you gotta manage your time. And it's easy to become a consumer, and of course, I love TV shows and movies, but it's what goes into them that makes me dive into the possibility of actually,
Making
um,
those.
making those even further, which at this point I am. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's something to think about.
Talking about the series, which is your favorite series?
So far, that comes to mind over my 17 years. I haven't finished a lot of TV series. I probably got halfway through Lost. It would be Breaking Bad.
Exactly. That's
And
what I was also going to say. That is
yeah,
the epic series of all time.
yeah,
That's the best.
yeah. I mean, recently I watched Stranger Things, which
Mm.
is a great show in
Yeah.
general too, and I read the whole first season scripts. But um, yeah, I mean, I actually met Millie Brown at Comic-Con
Oh,
one year.
did you?
I didn't mean to because we were just walking around because my parents wanted to go see Gene Simmons, which I don't go to
Mhm.
Comic-Con at all, but
Okay. Mhm.
yeah, I literally just kind of ran into her in the passageway,
Okay.
and
At
I
that
mean,
time, were you working on Sumerian? Like,
no. Well, I think I was on pre-production, like very early pre-production,
okay,
but
okay, okay,
I had established myself as a filmmaker
okay, okay.
at the time. So yeah, it was
So,
just a
mhm.
brief talk, but other than that, I mean, nowadays you go to these parties like with opening films. Like I was just in one for Cincinnati where I ran into Frank Grillo. You'll just run into people, actors, directors, stuff like this.
Oh, is
Um,
it?
yeah, when it comes time to it,
Mm.
it gets bigger and bigger. And
Mm.
I mean, for me, I don't get a starstruck, but I mean, for my parents, it's a whole new world.
Mhm.
But
You don't need to be Star Trek. You are a star right now.
thank
You can
you.
just watch
But
some movie and that's it.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, I during the premiere times, it's a lot more public. Like I do a lot more press, but
Mm.
I I'm excited for when I really dive into the next film's script process,
Mhm.
and I actually go quiet, or just at least don't have to do like 5 interviews a day,
Mhm.
or like be intensively in the public eye.
Mhm.
Like at one point, like TMZ called me at school during my math class
Mm.
4 times, and
Oh.
I
Mhm.
yeah that was stuff like yeah it
Okay. Uh,
yeah
uh,
it interferes with normal life, but
I have a crazy question for you. Okay, so let's consider days before you had all these interviews coming, and now there are these days. So I want to know what are the like responses of girls, general girls before and now. How is it
oh
for you?
nowadays I just stay away from that just because I have too much time, and it's more or less um no offense to the other gender, but if
Mm,
that can suck out time and money, I'll look into that in a few years
probably, yeah,
when it comes
probably,
time.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
But first, it's
sounds like a
definitely,
plan.
yeah, it's more or less don't stop during the middle of the race, and
Mm-hmm.
keep trudging on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, um, yeah, it's just I try to limit my distractions, just like you're watching Netflix. It depends.
Okay.
For me, it's if it doesn't advance me into the film industry in my free time, then it's not worth spending my time doing it. So, I
Okay.
mean, yeah.
Okay. So talking about free time, what do you do in your free time? What are your hobbies? Maybe what do you do?
Um, let's see here. During the summer here, so when Amazon's not sending back cuts of the film or that's rendering, I'm usually writing my next feature film, which with Lionsgate. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm usually either doing personal stuff like writing emails, or if I'm really out of like stuff to do and something's rendering, because if God knows I take any free time, I've got to have at least something either rendering in the
Okay.
works or through contractors
Mm-hmm.
busy. And so I'll either I go paddleboarding, kayaking. Um,
Okay. So that is
uh,
for your kayaking and all that.
yeah, I either call up a friend
Mm-hmm.
who rarely see me since I'm groundhogged into my room. But uh, yeah,
Pretty much.
um,
Yeah, it sounds
it
fun. It's fun life.
trying to be as a 17-year-old as possible.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
can you give me some tips? Because I have been trying to complete my I'm also trying to write a screenplay for a feature film. I don't know if I would get any producer, but I'm trying to write a screenplay, and I have completed around 25 pages till now. Till June, I would have been completed it if like I would have gone according to the plan, but it doesn't happen. I don't.
Oh no, in
get that
film
kind of
industry,
motivation.
nothing goes to plan. Nothing. Like
Well said,
everything
bro.
is late. Everything is late. You can't get on time. Traffic is either you're like this meeting, I was 15 minutes late, which is typical because either I get
Yeah.
an email from a
Mhm.
very important person that you cannot pass up, um, or
Yeah, this
something.
is an example. Like we are doing this interview. This is third time we are doing this interview, right? So
Yeah.
this is example. Okay, so
Yeah, I
can
mean,
you?
it happens.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens. Can you give me tips about how to be constantly in the phase of motivation to write the script or to finish it at least?
So one thing that I did when I wrote short scripts is soundtracks really helped. Not more or less correlating with a film, but more or less to get you in the cinematic environment. It kind of locks you in or wires you in. But if you're writing a feature right now, you would basically, I would do the treatment first, but I would make it as detailed as a treatment as possible. Like our one Lionsgate is 70 pages. It's got a table of contents. I didn't ever think I would write a table of contents for anything I would ever write, but here I am with, and I mean, it's got to be, in that treatment is your film, even though it could technically qualify as a script in page length. It as detailed as possible is and get your sole idea right. Like uh, even a one-page breakdown of a film could tell you if it's worth
Yeah.
spending your time writing, and even if you started writing it, just go through and see the core ideas, break it down as much as possible, and see what does work, what doesn't work. Test it with people on that small breakdown scale, and then once they you think you have, like, let's say you have, even with friends, just say, hey, is this a good story? But of course, go to people that have a filmmaking mindset. Then,
Sensible people.
yeah, and get some reviews on it, just on like a small treatment, even like a 5-page treatment, or just a breakdown of the script, story idea. And that will not only give you revision notes like feedback, it will also give you confirmation, motivation that you're writing your script. But it's a good idea. Also, look into the distribution plan. Get more confident in how you're going to distribute it. With Sumerian, we didn't know how to. I didn't even know I was going to distribute it with Amazon until my producers came up to me like 10, 11 days after post-production or shooting the film. But which was puzzles me how I was motivated, but I knew that the scale was worth it in film festivals. Just look at where it can go and get it there. So just look, and that's the same thing with my next feature film. I mean, we already know our distribution. Now it's just the pressure of if the budget's 1.5 million in writing, you have to take into account that this thing is going to be in cinemas around the world, and you can't really let the whole world down, including Lionsgate. So you better write that script.
How do you handle this kind of pressure? Like you're 17 years old and there's 1.5 mil movie is gonna be done on this script. How do you just handle this pressure?
Well, that's just a writing script for revisions, but that'll probably get up to probably like 60, 70 million.
Okay.
But it's just at this point it's a job. You can't really get in the mindset of what could go wrong. It's an art, so it's however you perceive it. And really, if the audience doesn't like it, but it's true to what your craft is and what your opinionated, artistic and creative aspects are, you're on the right path and staying, because you can't you don't want to look at what don't make a film trying to satisfy audiences. Make a film that's trying to satisfy yourself as far as
Oh.
what story you want, not what the audience wants. And so, I mean, yeah, this next one is my story. I basically created it. They're even keeping the press quiet on the writing aspects and the writing pseudonym over my name, because if big name actors like A+B+ actors look at a 17-year-old that wrote their feature script,
Yeah.
they're going to be spending 4
Yeah.
months on, they may have a bias towards it because it's never been done on, most likely never been done on this scale. And I mean, and it's going through 1.5 million in revisions. So those revisions give feedback or something like that on successful tactics. So I mean, you have a lot backing you. That's why you need to build credibility before you go out and get denied 300 times for your script and then get accepted once, because you're not going to make it past the first 100 times of being denied. So build credibility, and don't look back on any of your credibility with shame. I mean, you just got to look at it like it's another tool in your toolbox, experience under your belt, because anything you do is experience, like shooting a commercial to shooting just a photo shoot, even learning how to use cameras, even if you're not looking to be a lighting department gaffer, knowing the lighting aspects can help you in directing if you're looking to do that. Just knowledgeable, because they say you don't know as much as you do until you shoot your first film, because that first film you're working in so many departments. Working in so many departments with Sumerian, I had to approve everything in every department. In order for me to approve it, I had to understand it. In order to understand it, I had to learn it. So I mean, I was definitely not an expert in every department, but I had to be with the lingo there. So.
Okay. The kind of mindset you had before Sumerian, do you think that Sumerian was easy for you, or was it like hard?
So if I would have shot Sumerian this year, I don't think it would have been possible. I don't know why. I just think that my mindset is different. It's changed to the point where if you were to go with me and say, shoot this extremely dangerous, extremely expensive, extremely risky, and very hard to cast, since we had child actors, and you kind of just got to hope they look at the flyers and apply, and very hard to safety wise, or very hard to plan and very hard to locate since you're on ice. I would have said that's a for sure no, because looking at it, I would look at the risk. You gotta go in just guns blazing without thought of risk. You kind of just, you got to be a little bit naive, and you got to tether yourself to doing that. I would say for your feature script, do the treatment. You're gonna get some bad reviews, you're gonna get some good reviews, but nonetheless, it's improvement. And if you get multiple bad reviews with the same problem coming up, like let's say an actor or not an actor, a character, a character is like in a certain situation that doesn't fit for the story, and multiple people are bringing that up in feedback, then you know you need to change that. Same thing with our Sumerian test screenings. Like the first ones, we had a couple audio people were like, oh, the audio just doesn't seem to fit with the scene. We had a little bit of or not the audio, but the soundtrack. It just doesn't, it was great. Like right now it's amazing, but yeah, stuff like that. And if multiple people say it, it's something that needs changed. But and also be looking at who's advising you, because if these people aren't in the industry,
Industry.
who are they to tell you?
Basic
Or
advice doesn't matter.
yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, you can't really you're gonna expect to be denied, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But don't take it personal, because I've had at least probably like 50, 60 scripts pitched to me in the last year.
Okay.
Literally, I had like a reporter pull a script out of his bag right after he interviewed me and was like,
Oh.
"Okay, here's my script.
So they wanted
Review
to
it."
make a movie. Oh, okay, for reviewing purpose. Okay,
hmm
I see. I had a question.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, in totality, like in addition of everything, pre-production, production, and post-production, how much money have you spent until now on Subnibia?
Okay. Pre-production was about 4,000, which is very cheap. We got off because we rented university cameras. Didn't have to have a location permit because we kind of just told them, "Hey, we're a bunch of kids going into this wood for a college project, nothing big, maybe like 10 people." And they even sent park rangers to like watch us, because we basically like own the park for like these 5 days. And yeah, we just went in there with a crew of 35, chainsaws blazing, and a full-fledged production. But it's so right now it's gotten up to probably about 7,000. Then we got film festival admissions. And then we got the logistics of merchandise that I think Amazon's taking care of that. And Amazon covered like posters and stuff, theater, like cardboard stuff for local theaters here. We had to do some test screenings in a theater, and theaters aren't cheap to rent for an hour.
No.
There's just some of the crews paid. Oh, that's a big one. And I made sure it was most comfortable on set as it could be with our budget. Because if your crew's happy, they're going to be performing at your best. They're going to make your actors happy. And
So
everybody.
in total, you have spent around plus $7,000 on this.
I would say 10.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
10,000.
And
Like,
there's going to be more to come, just a little bit more, not too much.
Distribution, right?
Yeah, we expect to make around 30 back through film festivals.
Okay.
Which is of course going to go over our profit, but I plan to I'll give a chunk of that to crew, because I mean they worked. Some of these university students, they worked for little to no pay just because they wanted it on their resume, and they blew the job out of the waters. It was a great film. They did their job really well, and they deserve to be rewarded with just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that. Probably going into the next project, we got my Lionsgate one. They'll soon start the script for. I'll get paid for co-writing that. Then I have Project X7, which is being noted by Steven Spielberg, which
Crazy. Steven Spielberg.
I meet later this month. Let's see.
Like there's ton of money coming in.
It's but it's weird because I don't see many of that. Like 150 from Lionsgate, 150,000. 100 of that goes into college, and that's very low pay for my position on a film like that size. That's going to be 50 million. I think they're pushing to double my contract, which I think is right, since I'll be in union with Hollywood then. And so let's see, with Project X7, with that, I think a Wikipedia page that just came out on me.
Yeah,
put my net worth at like $201,000.
Okay.
Not like I have $201,000 in my hand right now, but overall in the project's net worth of not even counting Lionsgate. Well, I mean, that project doesn't count towards net worth, but just how much I get paid from it. So, and then Project X7, which is taking a phase of the film industry and making it in the digital age, and that's going to skyrocket. So, I'm not really doing it for the money though. I more or less want to, the film industry has been the same way for a very long time. As far as like theater distribution, streaming services changed it a little bit, but like theater, I think something needs to advance. It needs to be progressed. It's been at a standstill as far as certain aspects, filmmaking in general too. You see new things like VR, even though AR, stuff like that, new technology coming out. But some things, I don't see it being the same industry as far as how you view a film in 20 years. And I think after I get enough money, like let's say I do get up to that $100 million net worth, I would put a lot of that into changing the industry for the better.
To do that, bro.
Yeah. With how inflated the film industry is, it's fairly easy to earn a quick buck. But yeah, it's something, because people ask me what my end goal is. Even though as originally Amazon proposed Sumerian for the Academy vote, which is like Oscars, and that process would have been daunting, taken a few more years, which I don't have. I got other things to do, and cost a little bit more money. But if I had a chance for an Oscar, and even if I got nominated, it's if I'm getting proposed for Oscar vote at 17, I'll give it a few years when I have the next film or the next film after that, and it will definitely get me an Oscar vote. Or and I mean, I got no worries on that end, but it's just the industry has to be advanced, and after I would probably get an Oscar or something, I don't know, but my goal is definitely to evolve the film industry in the very end.
Just like while getting Oscars, just remember me, all right? There was one guy named BSK who interviewed me, like, just remember that, okay?
Will do.
Okay, can you give a little advice on getting into the film industry, like fast, and what can be the way?
For Hollywood right now, I would say streaming services, since they're opening up in the next 2 years, it's going to get a lot more independent. I think there's going to be easier to get into the film industry.
But again, competition will also rise, right?
Whatever you do not think of filmmaking as a competition. If you do that, you're just going to get behind every time. Okay. It's a competition as far as mentally, but not with other filmmakers, not with like, if I'm 17 making a film, I'm no better than someone that's 21 making a film. It's just all about experience, and because you're gonna have a window that will open up for you at some point, no matter who you are at one point in time. Like mine is maybe opened up at an earlier time, like with Lionsgate and all that, and I'm jumping right through it. But it's, if you stay independent and you work hard with stay true to your stories that you want to tell, that's how you get in. It's not about satisfying the Academy, satisfying these distribution companies, satisfying your audiences. You're looking to make your own style, and that's what they're really going to take. And if anything, you got to do it independent. It's harder, but yeah.
Okay, and why is Sumerian's release getting so late? What is that?
So Sumerian's release right now, we had it for June 12th. and then it got delayed to July 12th, which was basically because we were offered to get on the front page of Amazon, which is when streaming services nowadays, when they release stuff, they release it correlating with other streaming services. So they have to, that is a competition right there. Two streaming services fighting over the same consumer that wants quality products. So ours was matched up with one from Netflix is called Point Blank, actually. And so they offered to banner up the whole front page of Amazon and put it out. But that original plan, the film is done. It's been through test screenings, but I remember we were just about to submit it, and we did a few more reviews as far as with random audience members, and one of them noticed a footprint in the snow, and then I noticed another one, and these footprints weren't supposed to be there, because if we're at an aerial view and we see a trail that heads off from where we're traveling around set, we can't have that. So continuity, that required CGI, which we didn't use in the film, but we have to, as far as like environment wise, just to cover up those footprints. And it sounds like a small job. Film industry, and like I said, nothing's on time. It's like a pair of footprints could take like 5 hours, and then they got to send it back to me, render it 2 hours. I got to approve it, and then I got to send it back to them for the other 2 footprints and making sure it all lines up. It's not affecting major things. Little details like this can be time consuming, and so we delayed it again, which is because of that. But nonetheless, we're here to satisfy the film festivals. As far as winning like big film festivals like Sundance, those little footprints could be disasterly to the film success. Delaying it and the audience getting, let's say, upset or just disappointed, that's not going to affect the film's success in the end run. On IMDb, it's at a certain rating with certain festivals, and we're not affecting the film's success at all, which adds up. And Amazon understands that. They're still putting it on the front page and all that. Other than that, it's just still all out there as far as press we're doing, and we're holding back the big national press for when it releases. So August 12th, we can't push it back anymore, since we have
already
our festival team has taken over. So we're excited for that. It's we've gotten into Barcelona's, Cleveland's, one in Germany, and one in Italy.
Any plan in India?
We haven't started submitting. Actually, Amazon kind of slid us in there. They were like, they're kind of jumping the gun on it a little bit. It's weird because Amazon reps and us, we're an independent film working for a giant corporation. So it's like, it's a trade-off of, they're very eager, and then there's these 2 CGI team members that are just with Amazon, like, hold up, we just gotta finish this. But yeah, it's I've received some backlash for the film being delayed, which in my opinion, locally I'll be most likely going to California for college. As far as the film industry goes with Lionsgate, this is an independent production. It's gonna happen. Independent productions do that all the time. It's just but like the next one with Lionsgate, I mean, stuff like that doesn't happen with these bigger corporations. But as far as the future endeavors, everything will be on time. And I mean,
Hope so. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's yeah, the next film is just totally corporate, so it's not going to be in my control to even delay it. I just kind of write it, send it off, and
That's done.
appear on
Job is
set
done.
to watch the explosions.
Okay. And right now, are you staying with your parent, or have you purchased your own apartment?
No, I'm still with my parents, and we're looking at colleges out in California this later this month, and that's when I have my meeting with Spielberg.
Okay.
I may be setting up a meeting with the Russo brothers.
Oh.
Maybe. Um, we've sent a letter up to them. I know a few of the family members. It's just
Mm,
getting around it. Even though Spielberg's, I want him to advise me in college,
mm,
the path. Even though I'm going to college, it's just how much you want to spend. Even if you can pay off college, even if you're making $1 million, you can invest money better depending upon where you are. So, like $240,000 for, or like let's say $100,000 for college is still $100,000
yeah.
that you're missing,
Yeah.
and you can put into a film. So
Mm,
it's all about that. And then also Project X7, I'm discussing with him. Lionsgate film is nothing to him. I mean, this guy, of course, he's
no,
one of the
of
greatest
course. Of
filmmakers of all
course. Yeah.
time, but
Mm,
taking a phase of the film industry, making it in the digital age, that turned his head real quick.
mm,
And either he hasn't discussed to me, but his agent hasn't noted to me on whether he's going to be for it or against it. And I could see it being the same both ways. And either way, it's noted that that's going to be a huge shift in the film industry when it comes out. And it's weird that I'm the head of it at 17, but
mm,
it's gonna. I
mm,
I I have people high up in the industry sometimes tell me that what I'm doing is something never been done before in the industry.
mm.
At my level, even just ghostwriting for selling my scripts, that's unheard of for short scripts.
Yeah, it's unheard. Yeah.
So, I mean, processes like this, it's weird being the first person because you always have to just pave your own path
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
Uh, there are a couple of filmmaker friends of mine which keep on complaining like they are in this sort of artistic block. You know,
Hmm.
there's a that I'm currently in a block and I cannot do any artistic things right now. I cannot think of something artistic right now. So, what do you think about this? Like, is there anything known as artistic block, or is just that they doesn't want to do that, or just it's a lack of motivation? What do you think?
No, I don't think it's going to be like, it's not saying that a lot of people will say that like if you're going through a rough patch in like any industry,
Mm,
it's because it's not your passion, your real passion, which film industry, you're going to have hard times. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be rainbows all the time.
mm,
Um, I've had blocks. All you got to do is just put it in the drawer and focus on something else. Even if it's, let's say you can't think of a thing,
mm,
um, start looking at how you can change stories that actually happen in real life, how you can change it into fiction and how you can mold it and get really the creative juices flowing in any sort of way based on real life or something. Just
mm,
getting your own creative spin on kind of get the gears turning. Like just be like, what if this new story about a dog stuck in a tree has changed to the tree's on fire, the dog has to be rescued faster. Like something, yeah, put your own creative spin on everyday life or everyday situations or just
mm,
uh, something to get the creative writing juices flowing. And once they're flowing, you'll start thinking more creatively. You'll start thinking bigger,
mm.
scale wise. And yeah.
Just a last question though.
Hmm.
Last, okay. What advice would you like to give to the new filmmakers? Last question.
Know how you want to enter the industry and how fast you want to enter the industry. Because if you're judging yourself upon other people's success, you're not looking at your own goals, how fast or how so you are going to get into
Mm,
your industry. And if you don't focus on those two, you're never going to get into the industry. So you got to look at, like me, I'm just more or less running into the industry, which is at a fast pace, a very fast pace, and it has
very fast
fast
pace.
results. it shows fast results, and those fast results don't affect anyone that has a slow-paced industry break-in, and they're presented with a window later. That window is going to come no matter how much work time you put in. You're going to have to put in the work, and it's going to have to show off over the years, and you'll see that window. It's not like the film industry is your enemy if you don't see that window soon enough. It's not like you're not doing good enough. It's just your time comes when your time comes. Stay true to yourself, and you'll get in there.
Okay. Great advice, man. Okay, so all right, that was our time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for throwing those knowledge bombs on us. Like really, really thank you. And hope so Sumerian wins lots of awards.
August 12th, it comes out on Amazon Prime
Okay.
Video, and if you want to stay updated on anything from film festivals to updates on production, follow Subnibia Movie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and myself on Instagram at Jonathan Perry Films, and my website, or literally anything from the movie website to just to Amazon. They should have it on the front page August 12th. And for you, that one commenter out there, look at the front page of Amazon, August 12th.
Yeah. Okay, man. Yeah. So this was a fun interview, man. Really, this was fun, and hopefully we will do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a 5 years, and we'll see where you're at.
Exactly. Hopefully, I will be also doing something good in my life in film industry.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
You'll be in there, I'm sure. It doesn't take 10 years to break in the industry. It's just you gotta over anything, just act. Write that script. No matter, write it, get it written before you get it right.
Okay.
No matter what, you can write a bad screenplay, but as long as you get it written, I don't care if you can't think of any ideas, just get it written before you get it right. I don't care if you have aliens attack midway through the script, and it's not correlating with any of the story. It's going to move your progressive arcs of your characters forward. You're going to find more about your characters. You're going to find new plots. You're going to get the juices flowing. It's going to all add up. Just get it written before you get it right.
Okay, man. Thank you very much. Like, I'm feeling so motivated right now. I'm just gonna shut the laptop and I'm gonna write something right now. I'm gonna complete my screenplay. Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Sure. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to seeing you in the industry.
Exactly. We will be seeing each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.